Peace be upon all those who follow right guidance. Today's talk is going to be an intense one, okay? But I'm going to try to get right to the point and make this short and sweet. We're dealing with a lot of problems right now, you know, as African Americans. We're dealing with a lot of problems. And we've been dealing with problems ever since we came into America. And of course, that started from before you could even call it America, you know? So we need change, definitely. And many of us want change now or somewhere near now. We're tired. We want to see change in our lifetimes. You know, we've waited long enough. You know, through slavery, to segregation, but separate with equal education, as they say, through segregation time, through racist, different periods of racism. We've dealt with a lot of situations in America, social injustice, economic injustice. We've dealt with a lot of situations in America, and many of us are tired of this stuff. Now, I don't use profanity, so I know many of you would have chosen a different wording for that. But we're tired of it, and we want change. And we want change soon. But we have to understand how change comes about and how change can be made. And that's the problem. Many people don't know the proper method to actually get change, because we've been trying to get change since the time we were considered free as African Americans. We've been trying to get change with the movement of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. We've been trying to get change. Some have tried the peaceful way. Some have tried the violent or aggressive or self-defensive way. And in the end, we seem to have gotten nowhere. Some have tried the political way. We've tried many ways: economic, political, peaceful, aggressive. We've tried many ways. Now, no matter what way we choose, unity is very important. So if we're divided all over the place, then it's hard to get anything accomplished. And it's good that we're starting to see some unified efforts to some degree. But we need a higher scale, a wider scale, a greater scale of unity. And BLM, Black Lives Matter, has done a great job of uniting the African American people towards particular goals. And also with the NBA, the players coming together and having their own association, as we know from a long time, and coming together and meeting. So we see great unity within sports. We're seeing great unity with Black Lives Matter. So we're starting to see the black people coming together, and through these platforms, we should be able to accomplish something that we were not able to accomplish in the past. All right, but we need to know what to do with our unity once we achieve it. Once we have unity, now, what's our direction? What's our plan of action? And this is what we must be clear on. And it needs to be a plan of action that will actually achieve fruitful results. Now, I do need to know that, I do need everyone to know, and I do need everyone to know that I'm not speaking from a racial point of view. All right. Well, people need to understand that when people say Black Lives Matter, actually, people need to understand that from black comes all colors. All colors are contained within black. So if you're talking about Black Lives Matter, we are actually representatives of humanity. We are representatives of all nations. Because you cannot produce black from white, but you can produce white from black. All right, as you begin to remove different colors from the color spectrum, you begin to get red, you begin to get yellow. Remove them all and you get white. All right, so when you combine all of the colors, you get black. So by saying Black Lives Matter, we're actually saying all lives matter indirectly, because we are representatives of all of humanity. And that's something that people need to understand. Wherever there is injustice, we represent the removal of that injustice if there's removal of injustice upon black people. Because you don't see the same level of injustice being implemented upon any other race, whether it's of the white European or of the Hispanic. So we represent all of them. If you remove the injustice upon the black people, in essence, you are fighting injustice against all. Because internationally, you will see the double standard and injustice that is plaguing the people of color all over the world, where people think that white is more beautiful, white is more attractive, even though we went through the time period saying black is beautiful and black power. We had to say that because people were actually saying the opposite. They were saying that the whiter you are, the more beautiful you are. The straighter your nose is, the more attractive you are. The straighter your hair is, the more beautiful it is. This is what has been said internationally, where you have creams that whiten the skin. And you can see the product of Michael Jackson. What happened to him going through that time period of where people thought the whiter your skin is, the straighter your nose is, the straighter your hair is, the more beautiful you are, the more privileges you are given, the more privileges that are available to you. We have seen that. And psychologically, it has affected us all, to the point that, yes, many African Americans want a white wife or a white woman. And if they're going to choose from the African Americans, they want that light skin, they want that red bone, because that's what they consider more attractive. Yes, there's nothing wrong with choosing someone of any color, but it should not be based on the thought that that is what makes them more beautiful. You can choose, if you're eating fruit or any food, you can choose from all of the fruits available on the earth. You can choose from all of the foods available on earth, but don't judge it because of its appearance, thinking that it is, if you have a white woman that has a foul mouth, bad character, that's the real ugliness, is what's inside of the individual and what comes out of them, what comes out of their mouth, what comes out of their actions. That's the ugliness. So if you of any color are showing ugliness, internal ugliness, you are ugly. So the beauty is from what comes from within. And that's what we should be instilling within our children, to develop and to cultivate the beauty, the inner beauty, and the inner intelligence, and the inner productivity, and the inner power that is within us. That is what we should be cultivating within our people. To not think that they are inferior to anyone because of their color. To not think that they are ignorant and more inferior intellectually from anyone else because of their color. We should be cultivating that inner strength, that inner value, that inner quality, that inner intelligence, that inner superiority from internal factors, not from external factors, not because of your color, whether you're white, red, yellow, or whatever. We should be cultivating, inculcating, and developing within our people, within our children, within ourselves, that your true value is from what is within. And there's a reason why your eyes cannot see the color of your skin until you stand in front of the mirror. Because the value, your true value of who you are and what you are, comes from within. And that's what we should be developing within ourselves and within our children and within our people as a whole. And then strive to be great. That's why there was a great quarterback that was considered black. He didn't look at his blackness. He wanted to be a great quarterback. And because of that, he rose above all of the quarterbacks in the NFL. And if you are striving to become a great basketball player, then you will become a great basketball player because of what you have developed from within yourself and manipulating your physical presence and your physical capabilities to rise above everyone else. Not because of your color, but because of that inner, as they call it, that Mamba mentality. It wasn't said that Mamba color, that Mamba mentality that you are developing from within yourself for greatness, for superiority, until people notice your greatness, your intelligence, your superiority from what you have developed from what is within you. And it resonates internationally. What you are focusing on becomes evident in your actions and your speech. And then someone might say, wow, that guy is black. That becomes, it should be a secondary observation and not a primary observation. When you become a great person in any field, that should be a secondary observation and not a primary observation. So if we want to achieve success, we have to understand that we are a family, and our color represents our relatives. So we begin to work together with our relatives to uplift ourselves, to become great. So if LeBron James would like to achieve greatness, not only for himself, but for his people, and we are from his people, our color represents that family. If he wants to achieve greatness for himself and for his people, then what we need to do after uniting ourselves, we need to unite ourselves not just in theory, but in practice and in location. We should buy land. These NBA players, they have a lot of money. So much money that they're willing to give it up for the cause of the advancement of the movement of Black Lives Matter or removing the injustice upon us. They're willing to give up money. But I say, don't give up that money. Get that money and use that money. Take that money from those billionaires, those billionaire owners. Take that money from them and use that money for the advancement of our cause. Take that money. Give the rights to the fans that they deserve, that they want to see who wins the NBA championship this year. Give the fans their right. And at the same time, take that money from those billionaires. Don't leave it in their pockets. Don't just cause them to lose money. Get that money from them. And if you want to take it a step further, then establish your own NBA. If you want to take that a step further, start your own NBBA, the National Black Basketball Association. You want to take that a step further? Then do that. Start your own NBA, the NBBA. Then you will not only be getting that money as you're trying to get them to feel the pain of not accommodating our people. All right, so they're losing money, but you don't have to lose money. If you started your own NBBA, don't you know the national networks and the international networks would want to film your games? And then you'll be able to Own your own basketball team immediately, because if you start the NBBA, we're going to need owners of those basketball teams. We're going to need coaches if we don't maintain the same coaches. So starting your own NBBA, now you'll have the power to make the same money that those billionaires are making off of you. It reminds me of Rosa Parks. When Rosa Parks decided not to sit on the back of the bus, and then people went into hysteria. Why isn't this black woman sitting on the back of the bus? Black people are not supposed to sit on the front of the bus. And she refused. And it led to a boycott. Not just a symbolic boycott, a literal boycott of the buses. And the bus industry almost went bankrupt overnight because of the amount of money that they were making from our people when we began to boycott those buses and began to create our own carpooling to get to work. Like a taxi service, we provided our own transportation service to get to work. And the buses almost went out of business overnight. So you can see with us doing the carpooling, we were not saying we're going to lose our money from our jobs. No, we continue to go to our jobs, but we used a different way to get there. The same with the NBBA. We'll continue playing basketball. We won't stop, but we'll find another way to get our money. We'll find another way to do our jobs. You see? So you're hurting the owners of the NBA and not hurting the players of the NBA. And you're still satisfying the fans of the NBA. That's what they did with the boycotting of the bus during the time of Rosa Parks. But the only thing that they didn't do, which they should have done, is once they realized that the bus industry almost went out of business overnight, instead of going back to ride the bus when they said, okay, you can sit wherever you want to sit now, fine, no problem. Instead of us going back and riding on the bus and sitting wherever we want to sit, we should have said, look, we're going to create our own bus industry. We're going to create our own bus industry. We're going to create our own taxi and transportation service and make that money for ourselves that they don't want to lose. Then we should have realized the power that we have and the power that we have in unity and created our own bus industry. And now today you can see that the bus drivers are some of the best paid people in the American industry, in the employment industry. So that tells you that the bus companies are making a lot of money if they can pay those bus drivers so much money. So where we missed the mark is we were supposed to become those next bus owner industry, the next owner of those bus industries, next owner of that bus company. We should have become the next owners and we should have not become satisfied with just, oh, now I can ride on the front of the bus. Now I can sit wherever I want to sit. And now you see black people getting on the bus and willingly going to sit in the back of the bus, willingly going to sit there. And so what bus company do we own today? So what progress did we really make from the boycott? So we don't want the boycott of the NBA to become the same mistake. We should be learning a lesson from the mistake. That when we see how we can put the NBA out of business by boycotting, then we should also realize that they should accommodate us, or we will create our own NBBA, National Black Basketball Association, and then create our own media, create our own news or sports station if they don't want to accommodate us. Once we realize that we have this power. And also we need to understand that how even the presidential election works. The people that actually vote the president into power are the electors, the people who are on the electoral college. So we should be trying to make moves to become most or some of those people who are electors, because it's the electors that choose the president. Yeah, the people vote, but it's the electoral college that chooses to either go along with the popular vote or go against the popular vote. So we need to get into the real positions of power. We should become those electors. We should be on the electoral college. That's what we should be fighting to do. And then we control the vote. We control the popular vote and the electoral vote on the electoral college. That's the way we make change. We need to really realize how the system works, to use it in our favor. Do some studying. There are too many people until today that don't realize that it's not the popular vote that chooses the president. It's the electoral college. Do some research on that. It's the electoral college that chooses the president. And the electors on the electoral college can either go with the popular vote of their state or city or not. So we need to control the electoral college. We need to become those electors on the electoral college and control the popular vote. That's what we need to do. That's when you have power. And that's what we should understand. We have to get the knowledge to know how the system works, to use it for our benefit. That's what we should do. All of those basketball players like LeBron James and others, if they pooled their resources, their financial resources together and bought land, there's lots of empty land in America, and bought land and built houses and then established a police department for that neighborhood. We police ourselves. And then we tried to eliminate the internal crime and the crimes against us. We try to eliminate the black on black crime and the crimes against us from without. And make sure that the police officers that we hire within that neighborhood that of the land that we have built, and the houses that we built on it, and the stores that we have in it, and the banks that we have in it, the infrastructure within it, then we hold ourselves accountable that the police officers that are employed to police that neighborhood must live in that neighborhood. Then the accountability is in place. That's what we should be striving to do with our money. Not to take our money and go live off away from our people, but to take our money and build a neighborhood that has an infrastructure, that has banks, that has stores, and then we can create our own Wall Street. This is real change to control our situation, to control our environment. Because if that person, any person, was shot and injured or shot and killed by a black officer, would you be just as upset? Well, you should be. And unfortunately, we make everything into the race issue. And because we don't control the media can search out and seek out any incident of a white officer killing a black person. And remember, America has over 300 million people. And you mean I can't find at least one white officer killing one black person out of more than 300 million people in America? Sure, it should be easy to find one incident. And so when they find that one incident and they blow it up on the media and show it on all of the channels and excite the black people, and then all of a sudden the NBA stops again. You see, so they're playing with us like a yo-yo, controlling our emotions, controlling what happens in America, controlling the situation. But I'm quite sure if you wanted to seek out a white officer killing a white person, you can find it. Or a black officer killing a black person, you can find it. Out of more than 300 million people in America, citizens in America, I'm quite sure you can find it. And so if the media decided not to show a white officer killing a black person, you think it's not happening. And if they kept showing a white person killing white people, you think that's all that's happening. Or if they decide to show a black officer killing a black person, you think that's what's happening. You're saying, why is it that all of these black officers hate black people and they're always seeking them out to kill them? They control the narrative. They control the image that they want you to see. That's what the media does. But when we begin to control our own narrative, we control our own media, we control our own neighborhoods, we police our own neighborhoods, we buy land and build houses, we have banks, we have stores, we have our own stock market. That's when we begin to control our future. That's when we begin to control our present. That's when we get respect by those so-called people in power that are white or of another nationality. When we stand up on two legs face to face and tell them what we want. Demand what we want. Don't beg for what we want. Don't plead for what we want. And command what we want. And get what we want, whether they like to give it to us or not. Create what we want. Produce what we want. You see? So you can even see, we're not the ones that bring drugs into the country. So how do drugs get into a country that has so much technology and is armed to the teeth? How do drugs get into America? We don't bring it in. But somehow drugs finds itself into our neighborhoods. How? And then drugs are sold in our neighborhoods. How? And then we find our people selling it to our people and our people killing our people within our own neighborhoods over drugs, over territory for selling drugs. But did we bring the drugs into the neighborhood? No. Did we make drugs illegal? No. Now marijuana is legal in certain states. So now it's not a crime? What about all of the people that went to jail for selling marijuana or having marijuana on them? What about alcohol? Before alcohol was illegal and we had the mafia. Now alcohol is legal. You can have a store, you can open a store, you can sell alcohol. So they control the narrative. They control what is illegal and what is legal. So we have to stop playing into their hands by selling the things that are illegal to each other. We have to stop falling into their hands by fighting and killing one another, so that we enter their plantation, their prison system, and so that we become the modern day slaves of today, where it says in the Constitution that nothing can remove your rights unless you commit a crime. So you commit a crime and now you don't have any rights anymore. So now you are a modern day slave who they can put chains on your hands and chains on your legs. Modern day slavery can tell you to do whatever you have to do, or you will get the death penalty depending on the crime that you commit or depending upon your behavior within their hands. So you see, modern day slavery. And so we have allowed ourselves to fall into that trap by committing crimes, the crimes that they call crimes, by fighting and killing one another. And then all of a sudden we're upset when they kill us, but we're not upset when we kill ourselves. Yes, we are upset when we kill each other, but we put more emphasis, more light, and the media shines more light in a microscope and in a spotlight on whenever a white person kills a black person. So we're falling into their hands and we're allowing them to play us like puppets on a string, to control our emotions, to like a remote control, to prick any emotion they want to prick, to click any emotion that they want to click, to control us like drones. That's what we're allowing to happen. So, and the same thing even when it comes to our thinking, where we begin to think that we are inferior to them because of our skin color. Why can't we be owners of basketball teams, owners of corporations, officers on the police department? Why are we always on the bottom end of the stick, the short end of the stick, the receiving end of the stick? Where is our next president that we're running for office? If we have so much power to put a person in office, where is our next black president that's running for office that we are endorsing? Where? If we have so much power, are we saying that we don't have that much power? Because if you have to run someone not of your own people, then you're saying in essence that you don't really have complete power over your destiny, complete power over your future, complete power over who becomes the next president. If we really do have that much power, where is our candidate? Where is our representative that we have chosen to put in power? Not someone that gives us lip service and says, I will do this for you. I will do that for you. I will do this for you. We don't need someone to tell us what he will do for us if he is one of us. We don't need him to tell us what he will do for us. Because what he does for us, he's doing for himself. Someone from amongst us that we have run for office. This is what we should be doing if we really have power and we really have unity. And if we're creating our own neighborhood, we can choose who is the mayor of that neighborhood, who is the mayor of that city. All right? So, Black Lives Matter is a very good way that we have united ourselves. But once we unite ourselves, then we need to use that in a way that it will get results. Also, LeBron, with all of his money, and even the other NBA players, they can create, like I said, buy land and build houses on that land and open up stores that provide the needs that we need and open up banks and create our own stock market. Okay? And then he can call that LeBron Town. LeBron Town. You see, not just a school now, he can create his own city with his own mayor, with his own police officers, setting that example for what we can do and what we can achieve and the power that we really have. Showing the real black power that we have, not just in lip service or in a symbol, but in reality, the black power that we have. Showing the world the black power that we have. Showing the world the unity that we have. And if they don't accept it, agree with it, then we will create our own NBBA, National Black Basketball Association, that they either accommodate our wants, our needs, our requests, or we will create our own to satisfy our own needs, wants, and requests. The prisons, as I mentioned, that's their system to reinstitute plantations during this time in 2020, to recreate black slavery or minority slavery during these times. That's modern day slavery that we are falling into their hands with. So also we need to realize our mentality. We subconsciously have said to ourselves that we are inferior to them, and we are begging them for change. We are begging them to do things for us. When the reality is we need to realize that we are in power, and we will command and demand what we want from them, or we will do for ourselves. Do for self should be our mentality. We are equal to them and superior in some respects with certain areas of our existence. How many inventions have been invented by black inventors, but yet we don't think about it? Carver, George Washington Carver, and the traffic light, and many other inventions that have been created by African Americans. We have great skills and abilities, but we're using it as if we are working for the slave master who says you can't get off of this plantation. You must go pick your cotton and make some money for me. That's the frame of thought. That is our thinking. We have to change that thinking. and let them know that we are not your servants. We are willful employees, and you are the employer. And if you don't give us what we want or treat us fairly with respect, then we will create our own jobs, provide our own jobs, and work for ourselves. That should be the way that we're dealing with it. We are independent, willing employees of that employer. Whether it's a basketball team owner, we are willing employees. And if we are not satisfied, if you wrong us, then we will create our own jobs and work for ourselves. But if we can work together with respect and get what is due to us, then we will continue to willingly work in this company. That should be our frame of mind. That should be our frame of mind. All right, so we need to realize that. And part of what has created that negative frame of mind is even the images that they have put for us. Do you know that Jesus is not white? Do you know that Jesus was born in the Middle East? He was a person of color. But because they keep showing us this image of a person with blonde hair and blue eyes, then we think naturally that the white people are related to our God, are related to the Son of God. And so we just willingly think that we are in the position that we should be in. But if you realize that Jesus called his disciples his brothers, and he was a person of color, then you realize that we are noble, that we are people of power, that all of the prophets that we know of the Bible were people of color. So we are actually people of power, naturally. But we have allowed people to humiliate us to the point that we are humiliating ourselves, not realizing that we are the people of power. We are really the people of power. And we have been duped. We have been tricked. We have been confused to think that we are not people of power. We are not people of intelligence. This is what they are making us think. And they want to cut us off from our great history of being great kings and queens and rulers and warriors of the past. And knowing our true power and our true worth. That doesn't mean that we don't respect people of other colors and nationalities and for their contributions. We respect all people of all nationalities and for all that they have done and for the goodness in their character. But we are not valuing them because of their color, nor should they value us because of our color. But we need to begin to show that the true value has been established throughout history for our people. And we need to continue to show that true value and power that we have from within, irregardless of our color. In our people, we have people who are the lightest of the light and the darkest of the dark. And they are our people. So there are respectable people that are considered white. And we respect all of those. They're from us. You know, the people of color are the original people. And out of those people of color came all colors. So they are from us. And we will not allow our children to disrespect us. We will not allow the people that have come from us to humiliate us, to disrespect us. So really the white people are from us. Because Adam and Eve were people of color. And from the mud, the black mud of Adam and Eve, those black people who are the original people, came the red, came the white, came the yellow, came the red, came all of the colors out of the colors of Adam and Eve, who were black people. So whether it's our children of the white people, our children of the yellow or of the red or of the black, we will not allow our children of any color to disrespect us. We must deal with each other with respect, with justice, with honesty, with equality, and valuing each one for their internal value and not from their external color. That is the reality. That is when change will begin to happen, when we realize all that I have mentioned. And I'll stop here because I don't want this video to be much longer than it already has been. And I hope that some of you have benefited from what I have said. And check the history. Check everything that I'm saying. The original people were people of color. And Jesus was not white. who did not have blonde hair and blue eyes. Jesus considered his followers his brothers. His disciples were his brothers in faith, and they worshiped Almighty God. They did not even worship Jesus. So let us go back to the true essence of our reality and understand that a person is not better than another person because of his color, but a person is better than another person because of his relationship with Almighty God. And that is who will judge them on the day of judgment and decide who goes to paradise and who goes to the hellfire based on their goodness that comes from within and not because of their color, which is from without. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your day. Peace be upon those who follow right guidance.